Hello, this is Adan Yurchick recording for TCGplayer.com. I'm excited because today we'll be drafting Time Spiral-Planar Chaos-Future Sight on Magic Online. These flashback drafts are a lot of fun, and I'm excited to share it with you, so let's hop into the queue and see what the packs provide us. This is one of my favorite formats. It's super cool because this block has many different mechanics in it from Magic's past. So we're going to be playing with Madness, Flashback, Buyback, and everything else you can think of, pretty much besides banding. So let's get into it. So we have our purple rarity time shifted card in Spike Feeder. So when I used to play with this set, damage went on the stack. Now it doesn't. That's the major difference and the major thing I'm going to have to keep in mind when drafting. And anyone who's drafting this set has to keep in mind if you were playing this set back when damage did go on the stack. So a card like Spike Feeder, it's not as good anymore because I can't put damage on the stack and remove the counters. So that said, let me move through the pack. We have a rare Sign of Ur-Dragon, 5 different colors of mana. Not going to get the job done. The card that jumps out is Sudden Death. It's 3 mana, destroys a creature. It is in black, which is one of the weaker colors, but this is one of the best black cards. There's also Temporal Isolation, which essentially destroys a creature for 2 mana. Now, I would rather be in white, but black is underdrafted if it's the worst color. So maybe I can pick up some black cards. And it is the more powerful card, I believe. I'm going to pick it up. Here we have Call of the Herd, which is one of my favorite classic cards. This used to be the best card in Standard. It's very powerful. But we also have Draining Welk, where if you want to talk about power, that card's off the charts. It's a counter spell that also gives you a creature. So it's a huge tempo boost. You play it and your opponent is down a threat and then facing your threat. So you have that versus Call the Herd, which gives you a creature and then flashes back for another one, so it's nice value. And also Penumbra Spider, which is one of the best green commons, 2/4 that dies and comes back. In black, we have Tendrils of Corruption, which is nice, but requires being in heavy black. I can't get away from Draining Welk. Blue is the best color, and Draining Welk is incredible. It's just a really fun, great card. So I'm going to take that. So here's the black cards I was hoping to get. There's another removal spell in Dark Withering. That's what I'm leaning on taking. It's 6 mana to destroy a creature, but if I can Madness it, it only costs 1. Also Mystical Teachings, which can conveniently find any flash card, which includes Draining Welk. And of course, Sudden Death. That's not going to be the pick here, but I could hope it tables. Also Faceless Devourer, which removes other shadow creatures from the game. It's obviously great, but there's not a lot of shadow creatures. And then Nether Trader, which is a shadow creature that I can keep bringing back from the graveyard to play. But it's not too powerful for the cost. Dark Withering, I think, is the pick here, and that's what I'm going to take. Fythis, I believe. It's been a number of years since I had to pronounce this one. It destroys a creature. It costs a bunch of mana, but you can also suspend it, which is great. And it destroys a creature, and then its controller loses a bunch of life. You add their power and toughness of creature. So that's great. I think that's going to be the pick here. Momentary Blink. That card is awesome with Draining Welk. I can blink it, remove it from play, put it back in, counter another spell, and then flash it back and do it again. That combo is pretty much game over. And Momentary Blink is good with other cards as well. If I picked up Temporal Isolation, that first pick, and then I didn't take Dark Withering last pack, I might take that Blink, but Thysis is going to be the pick here. Thysis. Any medical students or people in that industry listening, they might know that card. I believe it's some sort of disease. But I'm going to have 2 in my deck if I want. But we also have Brine Elemental, which another throwback card in Pickles, one of my favorite decks and one of my favorite cards. And on the power level, quite high. Quite a good card. For 7 mana, it unmorphs and the opponent skips their turn. Skips their untap step. So you can basically have them skip their turn if they're tapped out. And it's very punishing. I think I'm going to take the black card here. No, I'm going to take the Brine Elemental just to diversify. I was considering taking the black card. That way I could abandon blue. But I'd rather have the threat. And Thysis is somewhat of a clunky card. I can suspend it, but then my opponent can potentially not have a creature. Otherwise, it costs a bunch of mana. So we have Corpulent Corpse, a great card to suspend for 1 mana. Also Viscered Deepwater, it's a comparable card. Spike Tiller in green. It's between the Corpse and the Walker. I'm going to take the Deep Walker. Here, Skittering Monstrosity, it's 5 mana, 5/5. It's at the top of the curve usually, so the drawback isn't huge. I do, however, have Brine Elemental and Draining Welk. It's possible I can consider passing it along. Other options are Pit Keeper and Mana Skimmer. Pit Keeper is decent filler, and Mana Skimmer also filler. I'm just going to take the Monstrosity, with the logic that if I have that in play and also Draining Welk in my hand, maybe I can win. I can figure out a way to win the game. Basil Sliver, that's decent. Spellburst. In the late game, it's pretty powerful. As a counterspell, it's not great, but I'm kind of a control deck here, and I might want to pick up that Teachings if it can come back, and I could have some sort of instant package to search for. So Spellburst is all right to pick up there. Here, Viscid Lemurs, pretty good card against black decks, so I'll take that for the board. A blue card came around, Tolarian Sentinel. It's not great, especially with no damage on the stack, but could be playable. I'll pick up Goblin Skycutter and cut it from the stack. So I'm looking to pick up cheap cards at this point. Jarvis Time Bug. Maybe this is the deck for it with the Thysis. But Pit Keeper is a decent creature. And in the late game, it's actually nice value. It's a Gravedigger. Giant's not great at all. I'll put that in the board. So we have a nice black rare and 2 black uncommons. Extirpate, not going to make the cut here. Big Game Hunter, destroys large creatures. It also has Madness. And then Dune Rider Outlaw, it has protection from green, and then it gets bigger if it hits the opponent. They're all great. I mean, they're kind of both anti-green cards in the sense that Big Game Hunter destroys large creatures, which are likely to be green. But Big Game Hunter has applications against other decks. There's big creatures in all colors. It also has madness, so it could provide some value. So that's going to be the pick here. Nothing stands out in blue. And Giant Dust Wasp, while an excellent card, not going to bring me into green. Blight Speaker is actually a really good black card, but I don't think this is going to be the deck for it. It's really ideal in black-white with cards like Saltfield Recluse, which is one of the best white commons. So I'll take the Big Game Hunter. Here, Tidewalker is great in a heavy blue deck. I have too much black. Treacherous Urge, very powerful. I don't think my deck needs it. I have quite a lot of high end. Wrathy Trapper, it's a 2-mana creature that contains their creatures by tapping them. That's what I want in this deck. That's the pick for me. So I'll take that. Reality Acid is a removal spell, like a ticking time bomb that in a few turns destroys the permanent you enchant. Could also be abused with bounce. So that could table. Blissful Thinking also is decent with madness. But not really a great card. It's basically a way to make the opponent discard, which I could use. So if that tables, it could come in handy. So Roiling Horror, I can suspend, and it drains the opponent. Essentially, its power is a difference between my life total and the opponent's life total. So if my life total is less than theirs, it doesn't actually do anything. So for a control deck like mine, it's not an ideal card. Dune Rider Outlaw could be nice for me. I have removal spells to get it through and make it grow. And then, of course, against green decks, it's going to be good. So I'll take that. Phantasmorgian. Just a big creature, which my deck's not too interested in. Braingorger is the madness spell. So I could pick that up if I get some enablers, but that's not really a realistic thing for me. And Midnight Charm is not super playable. So this pack's pretty much a bust for me. I'll pick up the Phantasmorgian in case I play against a control mirror where it's good in a really long game. Now I get to see some of the blue cards that make blue so good in this format, and in this set in particular. But these are sort of second tier. There's Riptide Pilfer and Aquamorph Entity. Pilfer is a 2-mana play, but Entity is a more robust creature. Become a 1/5 or a 5/1, so it's pretty nice. And Time Bender is pretty cool. It can make their suspend cards take longer or mine more quickly. So obviously be nice with the Thesis I have. But I'll take the Entity. And Erratic Mutation basically destroys a creature. It flips the top card of my deck until I hit a non-land and then shrinks their creatures. My cheapest card costs 2, so it's guaranteed to basically deal 2 damage to their creature. Potentially more. So I'll take that card. It's a pretty solid card to have. And as an instant, it's flexible. Bog Serpent is just a large creature. They can only attack if they have a swamp. So I can take that for the board. And I'll use it against other black decks. Here's another Aquamorph entity. Also Dreamscape Artist, which is a pretty decent card, as I remember. Could ramp my mana. So that's actually what my deck's interested in, more than another Aquamorph entity, I suppose. Also a Madness Enabler and Ridge Kusite. But the Artist is a better enabler for my deck. Here, whole lot of nothing. I'll take the 4-2 reach. Or the Brute Force. I suppose Brute Force is harder to play against, so I'll take that out. There's that Reality Acid. Or Wistful Thinking, which, again, kind of makes the opponent discard cards, but also could help them. If I can catch them with 2 cards, it makes them discard it. I'll take Reality Acid just in case someone has a very troublesome permanent. And Vampiric Link could be good against a very aggressive deck. Midnight Charm destroys X1 creatures. I'm in decent shape. There's Tidebender. My deck has a decent amount of power. So now I'm looking for cheap interaction, cheap creatures. Anything I can suspend. There's some cards in my deck I'd rather not play. Tolarian Sentinel, Timebender. Maybe this Dune Rider Outlaw. So hopefully I can pick up 8 or 9 or 10 playables, which is ambitious, but I think we can get there. So 2 great cards off the bat, Foresee and Death Rattle. Death Rattle destroys many creatures. Foresee creates nice card advantage. What does my deck need? I think Foresee is the pick for me. I have ways to destroy creatures. I don't have ways to draw cards. So I think that's a clear pick. I'm going to take the Foresee. Lanessa Zephyr Mage, a rare. This is oppressive to play against. I can basically bounce my opponent's creatures so I can undo them by paying their mana cost plus some. It also shuts down tokens. It's actually pretty nice. So I'm going to have something a lot better than Lanessa to pass it. There is, however, very good card in Icar Slick, the best black common in the set. It destroys a creature by giving it -3/-3, so it destroys small ones for 3 mana. It also has Madness for 4, but it also has Cycling for 2. So for 6 mana, you can cycle it and then Madness it, because cycling technically is discarding. So that card is crazy. And I think I have to just take that. I can't really remember playing with Lanessa much. I'm sure it's amazing, but I know Ickerslick is awesome, and this is a control deck where that ability is going to be really important for me. Lanessa might be best in some sort of green-blue tempo style deck or red-blue aggro. And as much as I'm loath to pass it, I know that Ickerslick is the right pick for me. And now here's another one. Now I have a very convincing control deck with nice early game plays, some powerful top end. I'm going to check out Veilstone Amulet. Not very playable. Whipspine Drake is nice. 5 mana, 3/3 flyer for me. It's not going to come back. So, something I can suspend, Neolith. And it goes into play more quickly when I destroy their cards. So if I can suspend this on 2 and then start casting Ickerslick, Neolith will be great. So I think that's the pick for me. Stronghold Rats, not great in a control deck where I want to hold expensive cards in my hand. I'm not emptying my hand quickly. And Venser's Diffusion's playable, but I already have a lot of creature removal now, and I don't need ways to bounce their things. So Neolith is the pick. That's awesome. Gibbering Descent. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they lose a life and discard a card. But if you run out of cards, you get to skip your upkeep, so it only affects the opponent, and they just get drained every turn. It also has Madness. Minions Murmurs. Card draw that's good if you have a lot of creatures. Not for me. Aven Augur, decent playable card. I don't have 4s very many, so Aven Augur could be decent. Cutthroat Odal, but I'm going to take the Drake here. It's a 5 mana flyer, but I can also morph it. I can't unmorph it in this deck, but if I want to, I can just have it to keep my curve going. Festering March shrinks the opponent's creatures and then gets suspended. It does it again in 3 turns. So every 3 turns they get shrunk. It's not great, but it is good against small stuff, so it could be a pick. Fidelkin Aether Mage, not super powerful. Delay's cool, but they get the card eventually, so it's not great unless your deck's very aggressive, like in a red-green or blue-green. And again, the Diffusion's not great. I'll take the March in case I play against a deck where it's good, in which case it'll be great, and my deck will have issues, because I am relying on targeted removal, so a sweeper could be useful, and I'll take it there. Grave Scrabbler is really only good if you could Madness it, in which case it's great. And as I don't have a ton of Madness, it's not going to make my deck. I'm just going to take this second Drake, and now I have a nice way to win the game. Unblinking Blab is decent, but unmorphed, it's not really a impressive card, and I can morph the Drake if I want, so I'll just take the Drake because its potential is so much higher, literally higher in the sky. And here is a card with something even better than flying. Infiltrator Core with Shadow. This is the best blue common in the set. I'm really surprised I'm getting this so late. And I'm super glad to pick this up. This really rounds out my deck. This is exactly what I needed. Wow, this is awesome. I'm really happy with where this is going. And here's just a nice creature in Blind Phantasm. I was hoping this was going to table, and it did. Putrid Cyclops is a slightly bigger creature for 3 mana. but it occasionally will die when you play it, so that's not something I'm interested in. So I'm going to take the Blind Phantasm. The problem with the Cyclops is you want to scry spells to the top and then it dies. It's like, then you do scry land if you don't need it. It's just an awkward card. At least for a deck like mine with a lot of expensive cards. If your deck has all cheap stuff, then that card is really good top end for your curve. Another Phantasm. Or I could take the Diffusion. But I think Phantasm is actually going to be nice in my deck. Massive Ghouls for the board. Stronghold Rats. Could be good in a control mirror out of the board. And it's a nice Madness Enabler. But I don't have quite enough to really want that. But I suppose if I play against the right deck, maybe against a deck where Big Game Hunter always works, I mean, I could, I guess, Madness the Ichor Slicks as well, just for 4 mana off the rat. The Outlaw is going to be in the board because it's slightly awkward to cast. There's Grave Scrabbler, so another Madness card. Tolarian Sentinel. It's actually good with Brine Elemental. It's something to consider. Festering March I'll put in the board. But I'll cut the Sentinel from the deck. And I'll cut Timebender from the deck. So here we have Dreamscape Artist, Pit Keeper, and Wrath the Trapper on 2. We also have the Neolith to suspend, and the Thysis. And I'll put the Viscera Deepwalker there as well as a 1-drop. Also, Infiltrator Ilkor. I'll put the Thysis to the side as removal. Some nice ways to get their creatures off the table. And nice threats of my own. I was happy to pick up Foresee as a way to get their creatures off the table. Ichor Slick is best for 6 mana, but it can work on 3. So I definitely have a nice spread of ways to destroy creatures. And here we are. Nice looking deck. And I want 18 lands in this deck. It's mana heavy, and I want to hit 6 lands to get my powerful stuff, and I have ways to generate my cards back. And I'm going to do a nice 9-9 split on the mana. I like nice even splits in limited whenever I can, just to make sure my opening hands have both colors of mana and I get to keep more hands. I do have Big Game Hunter to consider, Skittering Monstrosity, Draining Whelk, Whipspine Drake. Those are double color cards. Also, Sudden Death. And Thysis really costs a lot, but I'm hoping to suspend it. But I think overall, a balanced mana will be good. I want to skew a little bit towards blue, but because Whipspine Drake is expensive, I'll have double blue when I hit 5 and 6. But I also have a nice high count for Sudden Death, and enough to reliably suspend my cards on 2 or play my various 2-drops of different color. So this is what I'm going to submit. This is Adan Yurchick for TCGplayer.com. Join me for round 1. Thanks for watching.